My fiancé said, cancel the honeymoon. I need to be with my ex. He's going through a hard time. I just nodded, already canceled. She didn't realize I had also canceled the wedding, the reception, and her place in my life. Then, the biggest truth finally came out. We were 3 weeks away from our wedding when Sarah sat across from me at the kitchen table, looking at her phone with tears in her eyes. Mark called, she said, her voice trembling. He's in a really bad place. His depression is back and he's spiraling. I need to go stay with him for a couple of weeks. Mark was her ex-boyfriend. The guy friend she assured me was strictly in her past, despite his random late-night texts over the 3 years we were together. I stared at her, feeling a strange, dead calm wash over me. You want to go stay with your ex 3 weeks before our wedding? I asked softly. It's an emergency, she pleaded, reaching for my hand. I pulled it back. We need to cancel the honeymoon. I can't be sipping cocktails in Jamaica knowing he's suffering. Please tell me you understand. I didn't yell. I didn't slam my fist on the table. I just looked into her eyes and nodded slowly. Already canceled, I said. She let out a huge sigh of relief and smiled. Thank you. I knew you were the most understanding man in the world. I'll be back in a week, 10 days at most. Then we'll finalize the venue details. She packed her bags that night and left. She thought already canceled meant I'd called the travel agent about the flight to Montego Bay. She didn't realize I had spent the entire previous evening on the phone with every single vendor. By the time her car pulled out of the driveway, the caterers were canceled. The photographer was canceled. The florist, the DJ, and the hall rental all canceled. Because I had paid the deposits from my personal account, the refund checks were issued directly back to me. Next was our apartment. The lease was up at the end of the month, and I'd been scheduled to sign the renewal adding her name to the title. Instead, I gave the landlord my 30-day notice to vacate, booked a small studio across town, and hired movers for the following Tuesday. I transferred my portion of our joint savings into my private account, leaving every single penny she had ever deposited completely untouched. I was cold, but I was clean. For 7 days, Sarah called me twice a day. I kept my voice perfectly neutral. I sounded calm, supportive, almost detached. How is he, I would ask. He's slowly getting better, she'd say, her voice laced with manufactured guilt. It's just really complex, babe. He needs me right now. Take all the time you need, I replied, and I meant it. I needed her away long enough to erase her from my reality. On day 9, the movers packed up my final box. The apartment was completely empty, stripped down to the bare walls. I handed the keys back to the landlord, turned off my location sharing, and blocked her family on social media. On day 12, Sarah finally drove back. I sat in my car parked across the street from our old building watching. I wanted to see her face when she walked up to the apartment. She unlocked the door, walked inside, and stepped into an empty, echoing living room. I watched her silhouette through the window as she ran from room to room. 5 minutes later, my phone lit up. I answered on the 3rd ring. Where are you? She screamed, her voice cracking with panic. Where's all the furniture? Where are my clothes? In a storage unit, I said calmly. I sent the key and the address to your mother's house this morning. What are you talking about? What is happening? I canceled the honeymoon, Sarah, I said, leaning back against my headrest. I also canceled the venue, the food, the flowers, and the lease. I canceled the wedding. And I canceled us. Silence heavy enough to crush a room stretched across the line. You threw our life away because I helped a friend? She sobbed, trying to shift into anger. He was suicidal, you selfish monster. That's the interesting part, Sarah, I said gently. Because while you were playing nurse at Mark's house, Mark's actual girlfriend called me. That quieted her instantly. I could hear her breath hitch. Mark wasn't suicidal, I continued, letting every word hit like ice. He wasn't spiraling. You paid off his $14,000 gambling debt using the credit card you snuck out of my desk drawer 6 months ago. The debt he owed to some very dangerous people. The truth was, I hadn't suspected a thing until a woman named Clara messaged me on Facebook 3 days after Sarah left. Clara was Mark's live-in girlfriend. She found a paper trail of money transfers from Sarah, along with text messages between Sarah and Mark detailing their entire plan. Sarah hadn't gone to save Mark's life. She went to give him the money she had systematically stolen from me under the guise of wedding expenses, hoping he would leave Clara and take her back. Mark told Clara he was just taking your money, I said, my tone completely flat. He told her you were an obsessed ex who was desperate enough to buy his attention. He took the cash, packed his bags, and moved to Chicago with Clara 3 days ago. You didn't save him, Sarah. He used you, just like you used me. I heard the phone drop on the bare wooden floor of the apartment. Her wailing echoes bounced off the walls, faint but clear through the speaker. Goodbye, Sarah, I said softly. I hung up, blocked her number, pulled out of the parking space, and drove away into my new life.